Let's go!
Chapter 9 will cover 2013 to 2017. It will explain the time that Bowser took over the Sprixie Kingdom. It will also cover the exodus of the Paper Parallel Universe, as well as Bowser and Paper Bowser's attack on the Mushroom Kingdom. The entirety of the Paper Parallel Universe will be explained due to its relevance. On November 21st of 2013, directly after Captain Toad defeated Wingo for the final time, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad are enjoying an evening stroll. They find a Sprixie princess who pleads for their help, as Bowser has captured 6 of the other Sprixie princesses. Bowser then appears and captures her and retreats down a pipe to the Sprixie Kingdom, which he has just taken over. This leads to the events of Super Mario 3D World as well as the Switch port. Mario and friends pursue and traverse the Sprixie Kingdom, defeating Bowser's minions. Captain Toad hunts for more Power Stars during this time and is assisted by other members of the Toad Brigade. They defeat Bowser, but at the last minute he absorbs the power of the Sprixies and becomes Meowser, but is still defeated. Even though Bowser's Fury is an add-on to the Switch port of the game, it is an isolated event unconnected to the events of the main game. This means that Bowser's Fury takes place on its own release date. Near the end of 2013, Professor Elvingad creates Gooigi, and sends him back in time to the events of Luigi's Mansion, where he conducts field research by battling the boos inside Luigi's Mansion. This is explained in Luigi's Mansion 3DS. Gooigi was absent from Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, but present in Luigi's Mansion 3. Meaning this takes place at this point in the timeline because it is after Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, but before Luigi's Mansion 3. In early 2014, Luigi wins a vacation to the last resort and is asked to invite a couple of his closest friends. He invites Mario, Peach, and a trio of Toads. Since he does not invite Daisy, it's reasonable to assume that they are no longer dating by this point. Luigi decides to bring Polterpup along as well. They travel to the last resort. Upon their arrival, they are greeted by the owner, Helen Graverly, who escorts them to their rooms. In the middle of the night, Luigi wakes up to the sound of Princess Peach screaming. Luigi warily leaves his room to investigate, but finds Helen Graverly in her true ghostly form. She reveals that she freed her idol, King Boo, from Egad's ghost portrait. King Boo has already trapped all of Luigi's friends in paintings. He attempts to trap him in one as well, but Luigi escapes. Up next is Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi and Polterpup end up in the basement, and find Egad's car, which contains the newest model of the Poltergust. He frees Egad from a painting and they take shelter in his portable lab. Egad informs him that he was tricked into coming to the hotel and was trapped by Helen Graverly. She then stole his collection of ghosts and freed all of them, including King Boo. Luigi finds Egad's luggage case, which contained Gooigi, whom Luigi himself trained 13 years ago. Luigi is able to summon Gooigi to help him battle ghosts. They capture Helen Graverly as well as King Boo. Once King Boo is defeated, the entire hotel collapses. Luigi and Gooigi fall to their certain demise, but Polterpup catches Luigi and saves his life. Gooigi splats on the ground but is unharmed. Luigi frees all of his friends and King Boo's jewel breaks. This frees all of the ghosts from his control and everyone helps build them a new home. Luigi and his friends return home. The reason why Luigi's Mansion 3 takes place at this point is because King Boo is still trapped in Egad's painting until right before the events of the game. King Boo appears in Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games, as well as several other games after it, which would be enigmatic if King Boo is supposed to be trapped by Egad still. All that being said, it is also assumed that King Boo does escape shortly after the events of Luigi's Mansion 3, due to his appearance in Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games. February 7th of 2014 marks the commencement of Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games. Everyone gets together for the Winter Olympics. It takes place on the opening ceremony date of the 2014 Winter Olympics. On February 13th of 2014, Donkey Kong is celebrating his birthday party. Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong are the only ones in attendance. The absence of Candy Kong confirms the end of her relationship with Donkey Kong. Meanwhile, Lord Frederick, leader of the Snowmads, attacks Donkey Kong Island, with the help of a powerful horn, which casts an eternal winter on the island. The Snowmads take over the island. This leads to the events of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and its Switch port, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze plus Funky Mode. The 4 of them meet up with Funky Kong, and together they battle the Snowmads and eventually meet Lord Frederick in his frozen lair on the top of the volcano. They defeat him and destroy the Snowmads' fleet. They use Lord Frederick's horn to return the favorable weather back to the island. Next is Mario Party Island Tour. Mario and friends are invited to Party Island for more Mario Party fun. Bowser is of course jealous he didn't get an invite and terrorizes Party Island with evil bubbles. Mario and friends best Bowser and destroy his bubble machine. Mario Golf World Tour is next in the timeline. Mario and friends get together to golf once again. Mario Kart 8 and its port Mario Kart 8 Deluxe take place next. Everyone gets together to compete in races with many newcomers. These newcomers include, but are not limited to, all of the Koopalings, the baby clone of Rosalina, Isabella, a few villagers, Link, and a couple of Inklings. Characters such as Tanuki Mario, Cat Peach, and Peachette should still be interpreted as being their respective characters, but after they have donned their corresponding power-ups. Isabella and the villagers are assumed to be doppelgangers native to the Mushroom World. The Animal Crossing series takes place on a version of Earth inhabited by anthropomorphic animals alongside the human minority. This is clearly not consistent with the Earth that is connected to the Mushroom World. The Inklings are also doppelgangers native to the Mushroom World. The Inkling series takes place on a post-apocalyptic Earth inhabited primarily by the Inklings, which over thousands of years evolved from cephalopods. Again, clearly a different Earth than the one connected to the Mushroom World. A few months later, Bowser travels back in time in order to prevent Mario and Luigi from being delivered to their parents. In the ending of Yoshi's New Island, it's stated that Bowser warps through space and time to battle Yoshi. It's assumed that July 24th of 2014 is when future Bowser travels back to the past because that's the release date of the game. Next is Mario Party 10. Once again, everyone gets together to party. Bowser of course shows up to terrorize the players. About a week later, Pauline pretends to be kidnapped by Donkey Kong, and Mario chases after them with the help of his mini-Marios. Up next is Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Mario is led by Donkey Kong and Pauline to a dark room. Once the lights come on, it's revealed that they threw him a surprise party. Several weeks pass and strange magical orbs begin appearing around the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario heads to the castle and finds a note from Bowser stating that he has kidnapped Peach as well as the magical orbs. Next is Puzzles and Dragons, Super Mario Bros. Edition. Kamek begins to harness the power of the orbs and powers up Bowser and his army. Mario battles Bowser's army and rescues several of his friends along the way. He defeats Bowser and Peach is saved. Next is Super Mario Maker. Peach is kidnapped by Bowser, Mario makes his way to Bowser's castle and defeats him. This is what is depicted in the main game of the pre-made levels. The level editor doesn't depict any type of story and is not considered in-universe canon. December 3rd of 2015 marks the beginning of Mario & Luigi Paper Jam. Luigi and Toad are poking around the attic of Peach's castle when Luigi accidentally knocks open a mysterious book. The book flashes and hundreds of the inhabitants of the Paper Parallel universe are released into their world. The many creatures are ejected high in the sky and spread all across the land. Everyone at Peach's castle are discussing the situation when Paper Peach enters the room. Mario and Luigi swoon over her, much to Peach's dismay. She explains how she is from another dimension, and they begin gathering up the paper toads that have been scattered around the kingdom. Meanwhile, Paper Bowser has infiltrated Bowser's castle and immediately begins to fight with Bowser. A Goomba reports to Kamek about the paper inhabitants falling from the sky, and Kamek surmises that the paper inhabitants must have been released from the legendary book said to contain a parallel world between its pages. Bowser Jr. meets up with Paper Bowser Jr., and they instantly become best friends. Mario, Luigi, and Starlo continue looking for more toads, but are about to be defeated by a bunch of paper Goombas, but Paper Mario rescues them. They return back to the castle but find that Bowser and Paper Bowser have teamed up and have kidnapped both Peach and Paper Peach. Mario and friends make their way to Bowser's castle but are defeated by Bowser and the Koopalings. Bowser Jr. and Paper Bowser Jr. steal the mysterious book which Luigi had in his possession. They were planning on destroying it so that Paper Bowser Jr. would never have to go home, but later changed their minds. Mario and friends escape imprisonment and eventually make their way to Bowser's castle where they defeat Bowser Jr. and Paper Bowser Jr. They rescue Peach and Paper Peach. Bowser and Paper Bowser are furious that they beat up their sons, and deploy an air fleet to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and friends are able to escape Bowser's castle and they return back to Peach's castle as it's being destroyed. With the castle destroyed, they are hopeless in stopping the Bowsers. Toadette gets the idea to use the paper toads to build a staircase in order to reach the flying castle. They infiltrate Bowser's castle and the Bowsers reveal their plot to use the book to trap the Mario Bros and Paper Mario into the Paper Universe and then to destroy it. They were also planning on betraying the other and trapping them in the book with the bros. Bowser and Paper Bowser are defeated, and they seal Paper Bowser into the book. They return home and rebuild Peach's castle and use the book to seal all of the paper minions within. The Peaches reward the Marios with a kiss, and Luigi gets a kiss from each. The Paper Toads and Paper Peach return back to the Paper Parallel Universe, and Mario and Luigi rush off to fight Bowser again. Mario & Luigi Paper Jam clearly shows that the Paper Mario series all take place in a parallel universe contained within this book, and that Paper Mario, as well as all of the other paper beings, are completely different individuals than their 3D counterparts. Because it is a parallel universe, there are many consistencies between the two worlds. One such consistency is the fact that Mario and Bowser first became rivals in both universes on approximately the same date. This is proven in Paper Mario Color Splash when Huey mentions that Mario and Bowser have been fighting for the past 30 years. Paper Mario Color Splash was released on October 13th of 2016, and 30 years before then is 1986. 1986 is when Super Mario Bros. Was released, and when it takes place in the main timeline. Because of this, it can be assumed that an event similar to what happened in Super Mario Bros. Also happened in the Paper universe around that time. There are also other instances of information from the Paper Mario games alluding to the fact that events from the main timeline take place in the Paper universe as well. In Paper Mario for the N64, Luigi writes in his diary that he misses playing tennis and going to parties. This is obviously referring to Mario Tennis and Mario Party, which take place before the release date of Paper Mario. It is reasonable to assume that the timeline of the Paper Parallel Universe has the same structure as the main timeline. This essentially means that, like the main timeline, all the games that take place in the Paper Parallel Universe take place on their respective release dates. That being said, it would be impossible to accurately compare the two timelines side by side, due to the uncertainty of the passage of time between the two universes relative to one another. Everything that happens between the two universes are completely isolated to their respective universe, save for the singular event when Luigi accidentally released many of the inhabitants of the Paper universe into the one he inhabits. The reason why the Paper Parallel Universe timeline is going to be covered is because the Paper universe technically exists in a pocket dimension within the greater universe that Mario inhabits. This implies that the events of the greater universe have the potential to affect the Paper universe. The first and most obvious example is when Luigi accidentally releases the inhabitants of the Paper universe from the book. Another practical example would be if the book was destroyed. For example, if Bowser would have succeeded in trapping the bros within the book and then destroyed it, he would ultimately have destroyed the entire Paper universe and everyone in it. Bowser either didn't realize this or was on a whole nother level of selfish, especially when considering the fact that the Paper Koopalings were most likely still in the Paper universe, as suspected by Wendy, during the events of the game. Purely due to relevance and convenience, the Paper Parallel Universe timeline will be covered next. Like the main timeline, the Paper Universe timeline will also contain a few events that are said to have taken place before the events of the game from which they were spoken of. The inhabitants of the Paper Mushroom World use a different calendar than the Mushroom World and Earth. In Paper Mario, Bowser writes the date before each entry in his diary. The dates are headed by day and month, but with untranslatable symbols. This dating method is seen in other Paper Mario games as well, such as the Origami King. Even though the inhabitants of the Paper World don't use the Gregorian calendar, it will be used for the purpose of dating this timeline. This is done in order to more easily compare it to the events of those in the main timeline. In order to be less redundant, the inhabitants of the Paper universe will simply be referred to by their name without the paper prefix. The first known event in the Paper timeline takes place all the way back in 994 BC. Most of the early events in the Paper timeline are recounted to Mario by Garson and Carson, two bartenders from Super Paper Mario. They explain these events as having taken place many years in the past. The dates of occurrence were calculated from the date when Super Paper Mario takes place, which is 2007. For example, the first event in the timeline was said to have taken place 3,000 years before the events of the game, which is 994 BC. In 994 BC, a tribe simply known as the Tribe of Ancients existed. They were in possession of a prophetic book called the Dark Prognosticus. One of the ancients used the knowledge from the book to create a powerful tool known as a pixel. The first pixel was made from the soul of his deceased daughter. The ancients created more pixels from the souls of their deceased and harnessed these tools to become very prosperous. For the next 1,000 years, they built great cities and spread their knowledge across many worlds. However, they became dependent on their pixels, The first Pixel was horrified at the current state of her Pixel brothers and sisters, and in 7 AD she caused an uprising and overthrew the tribe of ancients. She became the Pixel Queen and controlled pixels with her mind. The original 12 pixels, which were created shortly after the Pixel Queen, rose up against her and defeated her. It was then decided that the Dark Prognosticus would never again be used to create pixels. Eventually, the Dark Prognosticus was stolen by the Tribe of Darkness, a powerful and secretive tribe that broke off from the Tribe of Ancients. 500 years later, in 507 AD, the Dark Prognosticus prophesied that the Void would destroy the entire paper universe in 1,500 years. It stated that the marriage of a furious monster king and a fair and lovely princess would summon the Chaos Heart. The Chaos Heart would open the Void, which would expand until it destroys the entire universe. The man in green is stated to be the perfect host for the Chaos Heart, and once joined with the Chaos Heart, would cause the complete destruction of the universe. The prophecy also speaks of a legendary hero that would attempt to stop the destruction of existence. A few of the ancients wrote the Light Prognosticus in order to counteract the prophecy of the Dark Prognosticus. It was written by 2 sages, Mer Lumina and Merlu, through the use of non-deterministic future vision. In its prophecy, it's written that a legendary hero wearing a red shirt, blue overalls, and a magnificent stash would prevail against the Dark One, and prevent the destruction of existence through the use of the Purity Heart. It's written that the man in green would ultimately decide which prognosticus would be true. 4 sages created the Purity Heart, and broke it into 8 pieces and entrusted them to various individuals and tribes to protect them, one of which is a sage known as Mer Lumina. The Tribe of Ancients and the Tribe of Darkness created the interdimensional towns of Flipside and Flopside, which connects many different dimensions. Some of the Ancients took up residence in these 2 towns. The Ancients also stored 2 pixels, Throw and Boomer, 2 of the original 12 pixels, into 2 chests until the legendary hero needed their strength. Mer Lumina is one of the Ancients charged with guarding a pure heart until the legendary hero is able to wield it. The next event is told tomorrow during the events of Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door by Grifty. In 1004 AD, the Shadow Queen appears and begins to ravage the land, alongside her 3 pet dragons. She destroys an ancient city and turns a quart of it into the Palace of Shadows, her domain. She created the 7 crystal stars to expand her dominion across the land. 4 heroes rose up against her: a strong but timid Toad, a wise Goomba, a stalwart Koopa, and a Boo with her magical powers. They defeated the Shadow Queen, but were not powerful enough to destroy her completely. While in her weakened state, they used the power of the crystal stars to seal her away. Just before she was sealed, she placed a curse on them. Once they let go of the crystal stars, their souls would be trapped in a black box. They spent the rest of their days hiding the crystal stars all over the land so they couldn't be used to open the door. They knew that the seal might not last forever, so they created a map that would lead to the final locations of the crystal stars. In order to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, they placed it in a box that could only be opened by the pure of heart. The 4 heroes split up and set out across the lands. Once they hid their final crystal stars, their souls were each trapped in a different black chest where their souls rotted and transformed into demons. Having forgotten all, they wait until they too can curse whoever ends up freeing their soul. Many years later, the penniless and immoral would populate the once barren place. It would one day become a thriving port city known as Rogueport. Also around 1004 AD, the Marvelous Compass was created by the ancient Luff people, who used its power of foretelling to rule the world. This compass eventually led to their downfall, and the empire fell into ruin. These events are recounted to Luigi by Cranberry, the soul of a boy who Luigi encounters on his adventure as explained in the 4th volume of Super Luigi, a book which he wrote during the events of Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door, 1,000 years before TTYD is 1004 AD. In 1907, the Pixel Flip travels to planet Blobble to await the legendary hero to arrive in order to assist him in his journey. In 1927, Harold is born. 2 years later, Gertrude is born, and in 1947 they get married. This information is gleaned from speaking with them in Super Paper Mario. 1944, Toadsworth is born. The Toadsworth from the 3D universe is much older than his paper counterpart. 1949, Zesty is born. 1960, Chuck Quizmo is born. 1954, Gomez is born. 1974, Goomfree is born, as well as the business Ratui. 1979, Flavio and Merlovely are born. 1984, Nifty opens his shop in Petalburg. And in 1986, Lackey is born. All of these dates are calculated based off of information found in Rogueport Direct Mail emails Mario receives in TTYD. Also in 1986, Mario and Bowser have their first confrontation. In Paper Mario Color Splash, Huey mentions that Mario and Bowser have been fighting for the past 30 years. Super Mario Bros. Was released 30 years before Color Splash, so it's reasonable to assume that he is referring to an event similar to the events of Super Mario Bros., and that it took place in the Paper Universe in 1986. In 1994, Koopley, the father of Koops from Petal Meadows, fights Hooktail, one of the 3 pet dragons of the Shadow Queen. Just before he is about to finish her, she eats him. In Paper Mario The Thousand-Year Door, Koopley states that he hid in his shell for 10 years inside Hooktail's belly, so 10 years before TTYD is when this battle first takes place. Also in 1994, the XS Express arrives late to Rogueport. In 1999, the Pianta Exchanger and the Pianta Parlor is built. On August 11th of 2000, Paper Mario takes place. The Star Spirits are residing peacefully in Star Haven watching over the Star Rod, a powerful artifact with the capability of granting wishes. The Star Spirits are responsible for granting the wishes of the good people of the world. One day, however, Bowser became tired of repeatedly being beaten by Mario. He learns about the Star Rod and its wish-granting capabilities. Bowser steals the Star Rod and imprisons the Star Spirits. Meanwhile, Peach is hosting a party for everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario and Luigi also show up at the party. Mario and Luigi live together in their house not far from the Mushroom Kingdom. Unlike the real world, Mario and Luigi live together for the entirety of their adult years. During the party, Bowser uses the power of the Star Rod to steal not only Peach, but her entire castle as well as everyone inside. With her castle now on top of his, they rise high into the sky above the clouds. Bowser attacks Mario and uses the Star Rod to make himself invincible and defeats Mario. He ejects Mario from the castle and Mario falls unconscious and lands in the forest. Projections of the Star Spirits offer him a small amount of their strength and revive him. A Goomba finds Mario and takes him back to her village to rest. While sleeping, a Star Spirit appears to him and urges him to travel to the top of Shooting Star Summit. Kammy Koopa, the head Magic Koopa and second in command to Bowser, appears and blocks Mario's path and returns to report that Mario is still alive. Mario helps a Goomba family to clear the path back to Toad Town, and Goombario joins Mario on his journey. The two of them climb Shooting Star Summit. The 7 Star Spirits appear to them as projections and explain how Bowser has imprisoned them in various locations across the land. They explain how, if they are freed, their combined power could be enough to reverse the effects of the Star Rod and make Bowser vulnerable. Meanwhile, Peach is trapped in her own castle and Bowser has imprisoned the rest of the Toads. Peach wishes that someone would come and help her. This summons an immature Star Spirit named Twink, who knocks on her window and offers to help in any way that he can. He lacks the ability to rescue Peach or defeat Bowser, but helps her to sneak out of her room. They are able to gather useful information from Bowser regarding the location of the trapped Star Spirits. Twink periodically relays this information to Mario to help him know where the Star Spirits are being held. They also find Bowser's personal diary, which reveals Bowser's romantic interest in the princess. Back in Toad Town, Mario sets off to free the Star Spirits and meets many friends along the way who join him on his journey. Mario defeats Bowser's minions and rescues the Star Spirits one by one. He eventually rescues all Star Spirits and climbs Shooting Star Summit. The Star Spirits open a portal to Star Haven. Once there, the Star Spirits grant him the power of the Star Beam, which counteracts the abilities of the Star Rod. They send Mario to Bowser's castle in the sky. Mario and his friends fight their way through Bowser's castle and eventually make it to the top of Peach's castle. Kammy Koopa powers Bowser up to immense strength and uses the power of the Star Rod to become invincible. With the added power from Kammy, the Star Beam becomes useless and Bowser is about to finish off Mario. Just then, Peach prays that Twink could have enough strength to defeat Kammy Koopa. With each prayer, Twink becomes stronger and stronger and eventually is able to defeat Kammy. With the combined strength of the Star Spirits, Twink, and Peach's prayers, they are able to defuse the invincibility granted by the Star Rod. Mario is able to defeat Bowser and reclaim the Star Rod. This causes Bowser's castle to become unstable, and an explosion launches Bowser and Kammy into the dark sky. The power of the Star Rod grants a protective barrier around Peach's castle, and everyone returns home safely. After a town-wide celebration, Mario and Peach return to his house and enjoy the fireworks together. Sometime in 2003, Goombella attends Professor Frankly's class at the University of Goom. In TTYD, he states that she was in his class last year. Sometime in early 2004, 3 servants of the Shadow Queen known as the Shadow Sirens set out to free their queen. The Shadow Sirens consist of 3 siblings, Beldam, Marilyn, and Vivian. Beldam, the oldest, learns about the X-Nauts, a technologically advanced and secretive group led by Sir Grotus. Sir Grotus sees many flaws with the world, and has made it his life mission to rule over it and to make it a perfect ideal world. Beldam learns of his mission and informs him of a way he could achieve his goals. She tells him that beneath Rogueport sewers lies the Shadow Queen, and how her power could be the key to world domination. However, she is only using him in order to free the Shadow Queen and has no intention of submitting herself to him in the end. She then starts spreading rumors around Rogueport about a legendary treasure hidden behind the Thousand-Year Door. This leads to the events of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which takes place on July 22nd of 2004. Princess Peach is on a cruise and travels with Toadsworth to Rogueport, a town full of petty thieves and criminals. While visiting, Peach is approached by Beldam, who sells her a box which can only be opened by the pure of heart. The box opens and Peach finds a map that leads to a legendary treasure. She sends the map to Mario with a letter asking him to come to Rogueport to help find the treasure. Mario travels to Rogueport, and once he arrives he finds Goombella, a young student Goomba who is being interrogated by the X-Nauts. Mario intervenes and is able to escape the X-Nauts with Goombella. She thanks him with a kiss and asks what he's doing in Rogueport. Mario tells her about the map and she takes him to see Professor Frankly. He tells Mario about the legendary treasure and the Thousand-Year Door hidden under the city, and how the 7 crystal stars are required to open the door. They traverse the sewers in search of the Thousand-Year Door. Mario stumbles upon a black chest. Upon opening it, a demon appears and curses Mario. This demon was once one of the 4 heroes who originally fought the Shadow Queen. The curse, however, ends up being a benefit to Mario. They reach the Thousand-Year Door, and the map shows the first crystal star being located in a castle near Petal Meadows. They travel there and learn that the locals have been terrorized by a dragon named Hooktail. Koops, a local Koopa, joins Mario in hopes of avenging his father, and proving to his girlfriend that he's not a crybaby. They defeat Hooktail and save Koops' father from the belly of the dragon and claim the first crystal star. Meanwhile, Beldam tells Grodus about Peach being able to open the sealed box. The X-Nauts kidnap her and interrogate her about the whereabouts of the map. She accidentally mentions Mario by name when Grodus hears about the first crystal star being collected. Grodus sends the Shadow Sirens after Mario to collect the map. Peach later befriends the X-Naut supercomputer Tech, who becomes very interested in learning more about her. She learns that she is being held in the X-Naut base, which is located on the moon, and learns more about Grodus' plans, and Tech allows her to periodically email Mario about it. Back on the Mushroom World, Kammy Koopa informs Bowser of Mario's search for the legendary treasure, the Crystal Stars. She also informs him of Peach's abduction. Bowser is of course not happy with someone kidnapping the princess without his permission, and sets off to Rogueport to search for the Crystal Stars for himself, and kidnap the princess. Mario receives an email from the princess. She tells him about her abduction, and urges him to collect the Crystal Stars before the X-Nauts do, as she suspects they will use them for nefarious purposes. Mario and friends continue their search, following the map which leads them to the next Crystal Star. They are eventually ambushed by the Shadow Sirens. Mario defeats them and they drop an expensive-looking necklace. They return it to a wind spirit named Madame Flurry, who insists on giving Mario a very big kiss as thanks. She joins their party and helps Mario to find another Crystal Star, and defeat Lord Crump, the second in command to Sir Grodus. They are later joined by a newborn Yoshi. Their adventure eventually takes them to Creepy Steeple, where another Crystal Star is located. Mario and friends travel there and learn of a Duplighost named Dupless, who has been turning locals into pigs. They face him, but during the fight, Dupless transforms into Mario and switches places with him. This transforms Mario into a faceless, shadowy figure. Dupless and Mario's friends defeat Mario, and he leaves with the Crystal Stars and Mario's friends. Mario travels back to town and he finds Vivian, who was recently abused by his 2 sisters for losing the weapon that they were going to use to take out Mario. In all other international versions of the game, Vivian is implied to be transgender. He is referred to by Beldam as a male, but refers to himself as female. Mario finds the weapon and returns it to Vivian. He is touched by Mario's kindness and thanks him with a kiss. Vivian joins Mario on his quest to get his identity back from Dupless, unaware that he is actually helping Mario. They eventually find Dupless in the Creepy Steeple with Mario's friends, who are still convinced that Mario is Dupless. Seeing him with Vivian only strengthens their conviction that the shadow figure is Dupless. After seeing that Mario is the one who had his identity stolen, Vivian disappears and leaves Mario to fight alone. He eventually joins him in battle because he is the only person who's ever been nice to him, and promises to help him on his quest. Mario and Vivian defeat Dupless and the others. They reclaim Mario's identity and the Crystal Star. They are later joined by Admiral Bobbery after they deliver a letter to him from his deceased wife which convinces him to return once more to the seas. They collect all but one of the Crystal Stars, and Mario receives all 4 curses from the 4 black chests which grant him uncanny abilities. The 4 heroes of legend are free at last. Back on the moon, Peach eventually learns about Grodus' plans to gather the Crystal Stars and release the demon locked away behind the Thousand-Year Door in order to rule the world. With the help of Peach, Tech learns about Grodus' plan to use Peach as a vessel for the Shadow Queen once she is freed. Tech tries to help Peach escape via a teleporter, but Grotus realizes the mutiny and completely wipes his data. As Tech is shutting down, it tells Peach that it loves her. The map shows Mario that the final star piece is located on the moon in the X-Naut's base. They use a massive cannon to launch to the moon. They storm the base and defeat Lord Crump and claim the final crystal star. While still running on backup power, Tech helps Mario and company to return back to Rogueport via the teleporter. The Shadow Sirens kidnap Professor Frankly. Dupless, who has since joined the Shadow Sirens, transforms into him. Dupless then finds Mario and friends and tells them that Grotus took Peach into the Thousand-Year Door. They are surprised that he was able to enter the Thousand-Year Door without the crystal stars. They open the Thousand-Year Door in pursuit of Grotus and enter a massive labyrinth, the Palace of Shadows. Grotus' plan worked. Him and his minions enter the Palace of Shadows. Mario and friends eventually are confronted by the Shadow Sirens, but are defeated. They are confronted by Gloomtail, another of the Shadow Queen's pet dragons, and the older brother of Hooktail. Furious that they slew his younger sister, he attempts to devour them, but is also defeated. They eventually find Grotus, who is holding the princess hostage. They are able to defeat him, but just as they were about to rescue Peach, Bowser and Cammy crash through the ceiling. Once Bowser's troops had given them word that the door was open, they entered the Palace of Shadow, hoping to find the treasure before Mario. Though weak from the battle with Grotus, they were still able to defeat Bowser and Cammy. During the fight, however, Grotus took the princess to the tomb of the Shadow Queen. The heroes arrive just as Grotus opens the tomb, and the Shadow Queen emerges and a veil of darkness covers the land. Grotus offers the princess as a vessel, and the Shadow Queen possesses her. Grotus attempts to command the Shadow Queen, but she instead eviscerates him of his body. The Shadow Sirens appear and declare that they orchestrated her release and pledge allegiance to her reign. She offers Mario and his friends a chance to join her, but they refuse. A battle commences. Initially weakened by the will of the princess, Mario and friends are able to damage the Shadow Queen, but once she unleashes her true form, they are unable to damage her. They are nearly defeated, but the crystal stars react and fly to the various towns across the land. Those who Mario helped on his adventure cheer him on and offer their wishes of victory. The crystal stars are able to stun the Shadow Queen and remove her vulnerability. Peach offers the last of her strength, and Mario and friends are able to defeat the Shadow Queen, ridding her evil from the land. During Mario's adventure, Luigi went on an adventure of his own, which he periodically tells Mario about. Minister Crepe from the Waffle Kingdom requested Luigi's assistance, as the foul Chestnut King has stolen his daughter, Princess Eclair. Knowing that his older, though less talented, brother was out on a no doubt inconsequential errand, Luigi sets out alone. He is joined by many companions during his journey and collects the pieces of the marvelous compass which point to the location of the princess. One of the pieces was given to him by a boy named Cranberry, who waited 1,000 years for someone noble of heart to give it to. He eventually finds the princess in the hands of the Chestnut King, but the Chestnut King turned out to be the Princess Eclair's true love, and the minister Crepe used Luigi to collect the pieces of the compass for him, which he would use to dominate the land and restore the Luff Empire. The power of the compass gave Luigi the strength to defeat Minister Crepe and save the land. Shortly after the events of TTYD, Cammy Koopa either passed away or left Bowser's forces. This is the last time she is seen by Bowser's side, and by the events of Paper Mario Sticker Star, Kamek has taken the role of second-in-command to Bowser. On April 19th of 2007, Mario and Luigi are relaxing at home when a toad informs them that the princess has been kidnapped. They assume it must be Bowser's doing and head to his castle. Up next is Super Paper Mario. Once there, they find Bowser making preparations to take over the Mushroom Kingdom, but no princess. Just then Count Black appears, and declares that the abduction of the princess was his doing. Count Black is one of the last remaining members of the Tribe of Darkness, and was once known as Blumiere. Count Black was once rescued by a woman named Timpani, who he eventually fell in love with and proposed to. His father, however, forbade their love and banished her to wander between dimensions until the day she died. Blumiere searched for his fiancée, but turned up empty-handed. Blumiere was heartbroken and stole the Dark Prognosticus. He used its power to destroy his father as well as the entire dimension of darkness. Blumiere found that existence was meaningless without Timpani. He assumed the name of Count Black and set out to fulfill the prophecy of the Dark Prognosticus and destroy all worlds. Backstory aside, Count Black blasts Mario and opens a portal which sucks up Bowser, Luigi, and many of Bowser's troops. He takes them to a large wedding hall in his castle and dresses Bowser and Peach in wedding attire. He then officiates the marriage of Bowser and Peach. Bowser, while not exactly sure what's going on, happily agrees to the marriage. Peach, on the other hand, refuses. Nastasia, another one of the few remaining members of the Tribe of Darkness, uses mind control to force Peach to say I do. Nastasia was once rescued by Count Black and out of love pledged eternal loyalty to him. Her love, however, has since remained unrequited. The marriage of Bowser and Peach summons the Chaos Heart. Luigi attempts to intervene, but Count Bleck uses the Chaos Heart to open the void in hopes of destroying all worlds, save a singular perfect world which he would create for his followers. Mario, still at Bowser's castle, is awakened by a pixel named Tippy. Tippy is a pixel who is created from the soul of Timpani, a woman who loved Count Bleck. She was created by Merlin, a sage who resides in Flipside. One day he found Timpani, amnesiac and nearly dead. He used Timpani's soul to create Tippy, but she has no recollection of who she once was. Tippy urges Mario to come with her in order to save his friends. She teleports him to Flipside, a town that resides between dimensions. Merlin is there and identifies Mario as matching the description of the legendary hero written about in the Light Prognosticus. He tells Mario about the void, which is now visible in the sky above Flipside, and how he is the legendary hero who must collect all 8 purity hearts and prevent the void from destroying all worlds. He gives him a pure heart, which opens a portal to a world where the second pure heart resides. Mario and Tippy travel there, and he eventually learns the ability to flip into and out of the 3rd dimension. While the Paper Mushroom world exists in a 3-dimensional space, all of the worlds that Mario visits during the events of Super Paper Mario, for the most part, only exist in a 2-dimensional space. Even though Mario travels to many different dimensions and worlds during the events of the game, he never leaves the confines of the Paper Universe. Mario eventually finds a pixel named Throw, who accompanies him on his journey. Mario is confronted by Ochunks, one of Count Bleck's minions who was once a great general. After defeating him, he meets Dementio, another of Count Bleck's minions. Dementio was originally turned down by Bleck when he asked to join his cause to fulfill the prophecy of the Dark Prognosticus. Bleck eventually accepted his offer after reading about someone spoken of in the prophecy. This individual was said to possess similar abilities as Dementio, that being the ability of dimensional manipulation. Dementio causes a dragon guarding the pure heart to malfunction, which Mario must fight. After the dragon's defeat, Dementio realizes that Mario must be the hero of legend, spoken of in the Dark Prognosticus. Mario meets the ghost of Merlumina, one of the original writers of the Light Prognosticus, who lingered after death to give Mario the second pure heart. Meanwhile, Peach is being held captive in Castle Black with a bunch of Bowser's minions, but Dementio secretly helps her escape, as he correctly suspects she is one of the 4 heroes spoken of in the Dark Prognosticus. Peach is teleported to Flipside, where she meets up with Mario. She is unsure of the location of Luigi and Bowser, but hopes they are safe. They travel to the next world and find Boomer, another pixel who joins them. They confront Mimi, a shapeshifter who works for Bleck, and reclaims another pure heart. Meanwhile, Bleck learns that Luigi must be the man in green destined to bring destruction to all. He orders Nastasia to brainwash him into one of his followers. In the next world, Mario and Peach meet Bowser, who was transported there from Bleck's castle by Dementio. He attacks Mario but is defeated. Bowser is happy to see his wife, but Peach denies the legitimacy of their wedding. They are able to convince Bowser to join them, as there will be no world to rule if it is destroyed by Bleck. They meet Dementio, who spars with them purely to test their strength. He desires to ensure that they would be strong enough to defeat Count Bleck when the time comes. They reclaim another pure heart from a sweaty cringe lord named Francis. They continue on their journey, traveling between worlds and collecting the pure hearts. They are also joined by more of the ancient pixels. They are eventually confronted by a masked figure, the mysterious Mr. L, who is a brainwashed alternate persona of Luigi. Back in Flopside, the sister town of Flipside, a mage known as Nalrem informs them that the void is rapidly expanding, and that they don't have much more time. They hurry along on their quest and eventually are confronted by Bleck. Tippy argues with him about his motives, and he states that all things are meaningless except for Timpani. This jogs Tippy's memory, and she eventually remembers her past with him. Bleck also begins to suspect her to be his long-lost companion Timpani. This is later confirmed to him by Dementio, who heard Tippy say the name Blumiere. They again confront Mr. L, and after his defeat, Dementio helps break his hypnosis, and he later joins up with the other heroes. Once the final pure heart is recovered, the way to Count Bleck's castle appears. The 4 heroes make their way through Castle Bleck. They face off against Count Bleck. Tippy acknowledges Bleck as her star-crossed lover, Blumiere. Bleck, however, holds fast to his plan to destroy all worlds. Mario is unable to damage Bleck due to the power of the Chaos Heart, but with the combined hope of the 4 heroes, they are able to summon the Pure Hearts, which shatter the barrier created by the Chaos Heart. The Heroes of Light defeat Bleck. Bleck, in his weakened state, asks them to end his life, which would stop the effects of the Chaos Heart and save all worlds. Tippy begs him if there's any other way to stop the void so they can be together. He persists, as he has already done so much evil, and feels that he does not deserve to live. Dementio appears and attempts to kill the Count, but Nastasia shields him from his attack with her own body. Dementio's plan worked. He desired the power of the Chaos Heart for himself in order to destroy all worlds and to rebuild a perfect dimension to his liking. He takes the Chaos Heart and activates a mind control plant he had implanted on Luigi. Mr. L joins with the Chaos Heart and Dementio to form Super Dementio, just as the prophecy stated. The heroes battle Super Dementio, but are unable to break through the defenses granted by the Chaos Heart. Ochunks and Mimi appear to help Tippy convince Black not to give up. Their hope and love for one another fully restored the Pure Hearts. She takes them to the heroes and they are able to use them to nullify the protective barrier granted by the Chaos Heart. The heroes defeat Super Dementio in a final battle. With Dementio's dying breath, he leaves behind a shadow of himself in order to control the Chaos Heart, which pushes the Void to the brink of destruction. Black quickly brings everyone to the wedding hall, and him and Tippy exchange vows. This causes the Pure Hearts to join into the Purity Heart, which destroys the Chaos Heart. The Void rapidly begins to shrink and the paper universe has been saved. Everyone returns back to Flopside, except for Blumiere and Timpani, and the Void completely vanishes. Nastasia is heartbroken at the loss of the Count, but is comforted by Ochunks and Mimi. Merlin congratulates them in saving the universe and invites them all to a celebratory dinner. Timpani was somehow able to be restored back to her human form, and she and Black travel to a tranquil world where they can spend the rest of their days together in happiness. The next major event in the Paper Timeline is read from the book that contains the Paper Universe, as seen in the opening cutscene of Paper Mario Sticker Star. On the evening of December 6, 2012, Mario and Peach attend the Sticker Star Fest held in Decalburg. Every year, the Sticker Comet passes over the Mushroom Kingdom. The Sticker Comet is said to grant people's wishes. The comet descends into Decalburg. Bowser and his troops show up and plan to steal the Sticker Comet. He touches it and it breaks into 6 royal stickers, and they scatter across the land. One of them fuses with Bowser and grants him immense power. Mario tries to stop him, but he is no match for Bowser's newfound power. The next morning, Mario wakes up and learns that Peach has been kidnapped. Mario finds a sticker fairy named Kirsty, whose role is to watch over the Sticker Comet and help grant people's wishes. They travel around and collect the royal stickers from Bowser's super-powered minions, who had fused with the royal stickers. Mario faces off against Bowser Jr. and Kamek and eventually finds Bowser in his flying castle in the sky. They are unable to damage him, and Kirsty sacrifices herself in order to grant Mario the strength necessary to defeat Bowser. Mario uses the power of the royal stars to wish for the resurrection of Kirsty. Kirsty repairs the Sticker Comet and everyone celebrates. Bowser attempts to touch the comet again, but Kirsty chews him out. On December 3rd of 2015, many of the inhabitants of the Paper Parallel universe are released into the greater universe by 3D Luigi. This, of course, leads to the events of Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. After Mario, 3D Mario, and 3D Luigi prevent the near destruction of the entire Paper Universe, all the inhabitants of the Paper Universe are sent back into the book. One day, the Toad inhabitants of Port Prisma are playing with the paint from the Prisma Fountain. Bowser sees this and gets the idea to paint his shell rainbow. He jumps into the fountain and mixes the paints together, which creates the evil black paint which Bowser absorbs. The black paint possesses him, and he orders his fleet to attack Port Prisma. The evil black paint's only desire is to mix all the paint in the whole world and to paint it black. With the help of the Slurp guys, Bowser's forces begin to steal the paint used to color the island of Port Prisma. Bowser tasks the Koopalings with guarding the 6 paint stars. The paint stars are magical artifacts which provide Prisma Island with paint which is vital to life everywhere. Kamek mails the colorless corpse of a Toad to Princess Peach in order to draw her to Prisma Island. This leads to the events of Paper Mario Color Splash, which takes place on December 13th of 2016. One stormy night, Peach arrives at Mario's house and shows him the lifeless, colorless Toad. Mario and Peach see that it was mailed from Prisma Island, and they head there to investigate. Upon arrival, they find the empty Prisma Fountain. They find a sentient paint can named Huey, who is the guardian of the paint stars. He grants Mario with additional paint, which Mario uses to fight off some Slurp guys trying to slurp a Toad of its colors. Mario is able to revive them using paint. Mario and Huey collect the red paint stars from Morton Koopa Jr. and return to the Prisma Fountain. The paint star is able to color different parts of the island, which had lost its red paint. Black Bowser kidnaps the princess and takes her to Black Bowser's castle. Huey suggests finding the rest of the paint stars, as they will point the way to Princess Peach. Mario and Huey defeat the Koopalings and collect the paint stars. The paint stars paint a rainbow road which heads straight to Black Bowser's castle in the sky. Luigi shows up with a go-kart and gives Mario a ride to the castle. Luigi drops off Mario, and Mario traverses Black Bowser's castle, where Bowser is producing bonsai bills loaded with black paint. They shut down the factory and face Black Bowser. Mario weakens him and Huey absorbs the black paint. This causes Bowser to regain control of his body. He has no memory of anything that happened since he was possessed by the black paint, and asks Mario if they had scheduled a kart race for today. The castle begins falling apart, and Mario revives Peach with paint. Mario, Luigi, and Peach escape, while Huey stays behind. He realizes that his purpose was not to protect the paint stars, but to destroy the black paint. He absorbs the rest of the black paint before the castle crashes down on the island. He then takes the black paint and ejects it into outer space. About 4 years later, the Mushroom Kingdom is to hold their origami festival. A toad known as the Master Craftsman learns the forbidden technique called the Fold of Life and created Ollie, the Origami King, granting him sentience. Ollie was meant to rule over an origami castle he was to present at the festival, but Ollie turned on his creator for writing a note on him. He then trapped his creator and formed a grudge against the toads of the Mushroom Kingdom. Using the Fold of Life and the Master Craftsman's blueprints, he created his sister, Olivia, to rule alongside him. She, however, felt that the origami and the flat paper could live together in harmony, and she rebelled against him. He creates the Legion of Stationery using the office supplies of the Master Craftsman. On July 17th of 2020, the day of the Origami Festival, King Ollie attacks the kingdom and imprisons its inhabitants in the dungeon of Peach's castle, along with his sister Olivia. He turns many of Bowser's troops as well as Peach into folded soldiers, and they become loyal to him. This leads to the events of Paper Mario the Origami King. Mario and Luigi are on their way to the Origami Festival. They head to the castle, but the town is deserted. They are separated and Mario finds Princess Peach, but she has been folded into an origami version of herself. She then opens a trapdoor and Mario falls into a dungeon. Once there, he is then granted the 1,000-fold arms technique by Olivia. He uses it to free her from a wall. They find Bowser and free him as well, but he is unable to fend for himself. They are about to escape the castle but are stopped by King Ollie. King Ollie summons 5 streamers from across the land to envelop the castle and seals himself inside with Princess and the Toads. Mario, Olivia, and Bowser are able to escape but are separated. They determine that in order to rescue Peach and the Toads, they must destroy the 5 streamers. They travel across the land and destroy the streamers, each of which are guarded by a member of the Legion of Stationery. On their journey, they encounter an amnesiac named Bobby, who joins them on their quest. Eventually, King Ollie traps Olivia under a massive boulder, and Bobby sacrifices himself in order to destroy the boulder. Olivia is distraught at the loss of their friend, but Mario comforts her upon the request of Bobby's ghost. They also free the Master Craftsman, who explains the origin of Ollie. Eventually they head to Bowser's castle, which is where the last streamer lies. It's been taken over by the origami soldiers. Bowser Jr. is cut up by Scissors, a member of the Legion of Stationery, and Kamek reluctantly teams up with Mario and Olivia in order to revive Bowser Jr. They defeat the folded soldiers as well as the Scissors, and free Bowser. They destroy the final streamer, blocking access to Peach's castle. They all head to Peach's castle and defeat the Stapler, which frees Bowser of his stapled folded form. They confront Ollie, but he has folded 999 paper cranes. He intends to fold Mario into the 1,000th crane, which would grant him his wish of turning all toads into paper scraps. Mario, Bowser, and Olivia battle King Ollie, and he is eventually defeated. Upon his defeat, he finally reads the note the Master Craftsman had written on him, which states he hopes Ollie would make a great king someday. Ollie is remorseful of his actions, and offers to allow Olivia to fold him into the 1,000th paper crane, which would grant her one wish. She does so and wishes for everything that was folded by her brother to be undone. Everyone, including Bowser's army, enjoys the Origami Festival. Mario is saddened at the loss of Olivia, but is comforted by Peach. This concludes the Paper Parallel Universe timeline. The explanation of the main timeline will continue from after the events of Mario Luigi Paper Jam.
Let's go!
In early 2016, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash takes place. Mario and friends compete in tennis. One of the Sprixie princesses from the Sprixie Kingdom is invited to attend. August 5th, 2016 marks the opening ceremony for the 2016 Olympics. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games for the Wii U and 3DS is up next. It is placed on August 5th because that is the real-life date of the opening ceremony. Next is Mario Party Star Rush. Mario and friends get together for more Mario Party fun. The next game in the timeline is Super Mario Run. Peach invites Mario over to the castle to party and eat cake. Bowser hears about this and wrecks the castle and the nearby town. He kidnaps Peach. Mario and Luigi defeat Bowser and rescue Princess Peach, and she rewards Mario with a kiss. Bowser then kidnaps Princess Daisy, and Peach joins Mario and Luigi in rescuing her. Bowser is defeated once more, and Daisy is saved. Surprisingly, this is actually the only instance where Bowser abducts Daisy. His motivation is unclear, but the answer most likely would have to do with getting Peach back. A few months later, Mario Sports Superstars takes place. Mario and friends get together to compete in soccer, baseball, tennis, golf, and horse racing. Boom Boom and Pom Pom are invited to participate as well, in soccer.